With 76 selections in CSE 2022, Study IQ IS aims at providing high quality IS preparation at a very affordable cost. हमारे P2I यानी कि Prelims to Interview 2024 लाइव बैच के साथ आप CSE एग्जाम की तैयारी कर सकते हैं with features like live classes, one-to-one mentorship, daily answer writing, success in prelims and mains crash course, 18 books across all subjects, interview guidance program, and the most unique feature, mains residential program, where Study IQ students clearing prelims 2024 will be called to Study IQ campus at no additional cost.
हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा नाम केवी श्रीकांत है। मैं इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस 2022 में ऑल इंडिया रैंक 1 हासिल किया था। मैं इस वीडियो में अपनी फॉरेस्ट्री का स्ट्रैटेजी शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द फॉरेस्ट्री स्ट्रैटेजी। फॉर फॉरेस्ट्री आई हैव गिवन अराउंड 3 months because I want to dedicatedly prepare for the IFS. I wanted to read the options before the prelims itself. So I have given 3 months. And also it can be done in even less time. Many people are doing it. If you are concentrated enough, you can finish it in less time. Because I haven't cleared the prelims of the 2021, I have leisurely given time for the geology and the forestry. So people with concentrated effort can even finish it in much quicker time. So my sources for the forestry include I've only referred the Manikandan and Prabhu book, which is the standard source for the forestry. For both the paper 1 and paper 2, many of the topics, almost 90%, 80 to 90% of the topics are given in the book. At some points, it may focus less on the explanation part, and you might not understand some concepts very well, like silvicultural systems, the yield regulation methods, etc. But the concepts given in the book are solid, and they have taken up from the standard sources, standard books of the forestry like NS Khanna, Chaturvedi, etc. So I have depended mainly on the Manikandan and Prabhu. First time I have read Manikandan and Prabhu, everything I have read, but later I have realized that not everything is needed for the exam, because some chapters like soil and the environment parts are not needed for this exam. But as far as so don't leave these topics, take the syllabus and the PYQs, keep those things with you, and according to them study the book. You don't need to study everything. For technical parts like paper section A of the paper 1 and section A of the paper 2, these are the core forestry concepts. These are given very well in the Manikandan. So you can read these concepts. For the concepts which you do not understand, you can search on the internet or take other books, standard books for the forestry, like forest management in Ram Prakash. It was explained well. I haven't personally read that book, but people say that it is useful for understanding of the forestry subject. So for these technical parts, I have read from the Manikandan. My main ease with the subject came from multiple revisions. I have read the book 4 times before going to the exam. So read multiple times so that you will get these concepts at your fingertips, so that you can write well in the exam. So I would like to emphasize on revising the book multiple times, and also focusing on the core technical part of the forestry. Because paper section B of paper 1 and section B of paper 2 are easy and can be understood easily, and this is also covered in the civil services environment part. There is agroforestry, joint forest management, soil conservation, etc. Can be done. But what I would suggest for the technical parts is that read Manikandan, understand it. If you are not able to understand, use the internet and use the chat GPT, etc. Use these internet resources thoroughly, even for the forestry and even for the geology. There are many videos explaining these concepts, so use the net very well. Coming to the section A of the paper 1, it mainly consists of silviculture, silvicultural systems, silviculture of trees, cold deserts and mangroves. The silviculture related topics, once you have revised them 3 times or 4 times, you will get the hang of it. It will be very easy. Memorize them. These silvicultural technique systems, you don't need to learn them in depth. Just have an understanding about what the particular system is, and collect some examples for the system, and have a fair idea about each and every silvicultural system. You don't need to remember everything. And coming to the silviculture of trees, I've only remembered the silvicultural characteristics of different trees, like the frost hardiness, the fire hardiness, the light demanding, etc. These silvicultural characteristics I have remembered for the some 30 species of tree species. In addition to that, you can, for other factors like distribution, phenology, usages, you can write common things like when the tree flowers, when the tree sheds the flowers. These things you can use common sense and can write. No need to remember everything and each specific thing for these trees. So have a dedicated chart prepared for these 30 species in silvicultural characteristics. And for silviculture, the first chapter, you read the Manikandan, you will get a fair idea about different concepts which are involved in the silviculture. Revise them. The other concept is the cold desert and mangroves. This is a low hanging fruit. Every year a question will be coming from this topic. So give emphasis to this topic. It is very small topic. Have some examples about both these types of ecosystems like mangroves and cold deserts, and prepare well. Definitely one question will be coming from this forestry in paper section A of paper 1. Regarding section B, I haven't prepared much over section B because I thought I would prepare this technical forestry well, and I haven't prepared much about this environment. I have read tree improvement and agroforestry, but not much about the environment angle. So I was comfortable with the section A, so I have attempted more questions from the section A itself. While attempting the paper, try to draw diagrams for different silvicultural systems or whatever the question demands. Try to answer it in a technical angle. Write these tree species names whenever it is required. For example, in this IFS ES papers, I have written the mangrove species and the bamboo species in the questions. Even when the question haven't exactly asked for them, I have tried to sprinkle these tree species names whenever there is a chance. So do that. Answer in a technical angle and draw diagrams whenever necessary. Revise the forestry subject so that you will get ease with the subject, and have a focus on the previous year questions, because with the specific notes on the previous year questions, you will get to know, and you can interlink between different topics of the forestry, and this will particularly give a differential to your answers. And also one thing is that you have to remember these concepts even in forestry and even in geology. So what I did was, every morning for the difficult topics, I have recalled every morning these difficult topics, and I have remembered these concepts. So I was more strong in this technical aspect. So this is a strategy for section A. Section B, I haven't attempted more. There is one section called tree improvement, where you can refer Manikandan itself, and there are different terms in the Manikandan. You search for these terms in internet. There is terms like selection intensity, breeding values, breeders equation, etc. You search the internet, have some notes on that. There is also, every year there will be question coming from this tree improvement. So focus on this tree improvement. Coming to the paper 2, in paper 2, section A is a technical part, which consists of forest mensuration, forest surveying, engineering, forest management, forest working plan. So for these concepts, Manikandan is enough. In forest management chapter, there are different concepts which are explained, which might be hard in first reading. So I would suggest that you do only the forest management asked in the previous year questions, and have a small notes prepared for that. Personally, I have used X. Chowdhury sir's notes for the forestry, forest management chapter. He made a small notes which was concise, and for PYQs, make this small concise notes for the forest management, so that this chapter can be tackled easily. Sir, for forest working plan, Manikandan is sufficient, and forest mensuration, surveying and engineering, refer the Manikandan and give emphasis on the previous year questions. Where some questions might be coming out of the syllabus, you can prepare from the internet. Have a specific notes to tackle with this type of questions. Coming to the paper B, there are concepts like ethnobotany, forest utilization, wood technology, forest economics and forest legislation. So your focus should be on covering these topics and revising them. These are easily understood and can be revised multiple times so that you can present well in the exam. Collect some examples regarding this section B, be it the medicinal plants, be it the forest utilization, the wood technology techniques. Collect these examples, remember these diagrams and this technical jargon, and use them in the exam to fetch more marks. Personally, I have collected various practices that are being done by the forest department of various divisions across the country, and I used to use these examples in the in the exam. For some questions, if you are not able to find the examples, I used to write generic things like usage of remote sensing in the forest fires by the FSI, or this department is using drones, etc. I used to give that real-time perspective through examples wherever is required. One thing also that helped me was having this PYQ notes made. I haven't done extensively, but I have done some for some questions which came handy in the exam. For example, in the mechanization question in this year paper, I was able to write the type of machines which were used for the forest harvesting, and also the concept of reduced impact logging, which was a PYQs. I was able to use these questions in my answers, these concepts in my answers, so that it will make the differential. So these are the things I have followed for the forestry. So section A is pretty much you can cover from the Manikandan, revise it more times, and present your answers with a technical angle, draw diagrams, have the formulas, write the technical jargon, so that the examiner knows you have the command over the subject. I've got 246 out of 400 in the forestry, and I have relied on a Manikandan and revised it multiple times. So I would suggest to get your concepts clear. Everything 80 to 90% is given in Manikandan. Get your concepts clear from the internet if you are not able to understand from the Manikandan. While attempting the paper, have this in mind that you are writing technical terms related to the forestry in different technical sections like section A's of both the papers. Don't read too much, read less, revise more, and present in a good manner should be your formula for cracking the mains exam, because you will not be able to remember all the things which you have read. So be specific, cover that topic holistically in 2-3 pages with rich technical knowledge and examples collected from the internet, etc. So do this for both the optionals. And one more thing I want to emphasize is that do remember these concepts which you are studying by revising it. I personally used to recall these particular topics in the morning whenever I find time, so that these concepts got transferred into long-term memory, and I was able to recall these concepts well in the exam, so I can present with much ease and with much technical knowledge. So I would suggest that you also give test series, or else at least the practice of PYQs before going to the exam, so that you know how your output is coming on the paper. So have this test series if possible, and evaluate your papers, get it evaluated, and see where am I lagging. Is it in the conceptual side, or is it some presenting the answers? So do improve upon these particular topics. Give test series, I would suggest. It will boost your scores. Do some research on the PYQs and make some dedicated notes, and also use internet extensively. These tips will definitely help improve your score. So thank you DKT for giving me this opportunity. I've benefited from your videos and I want to give back to the community to share my strategy so that more aspirants can learn from my strategy and be successful. Thank you.